All right. Clap. Clap, 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 clap. Clap, 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 clap. All right, well, hello there. Welcome back to another Trainer Clizzard video today. We're doing a special treat today. I want to start getting into Pokemon deck profiles, and this will be the first one. This one in particular, I want to make here because, I mean, a few reasons, but I'll get to it. So, on a very unrelated note, I've been really into Valorant, watching competitive Valorant, and there's a streamer that I like watching, Sluggy.
Ara, gifting 5 memberships as well. Dude, everyone's discovering it. Ara, gifting 5 YouTube memberships. Thank you so much for that as well, bro.
Answer back.
Wait, what does that mean? Hey, chat, what does that mean? Oh no, what have I said? Am I getting banned?
Sluggy used to be a CS player. I didn't know him much from CS, but he was a Team Liquid's coach, at least for the VCT, or you know, the male team, I suppose. Sluggy was the coach. And then he got kicked out of being a coach, and now he's just mainly a co-streamer, but he also does other things like desk and but anyways, his whole thing is slugs. Sluggy slugs. And I like my slugs. And because I like slugs, Magcargo and Slugma, very slugs, so weird. Okay, sure. Anyways, this deck profile is going to be one of many. There's a certain theme about all these decks that I'm going to make in the future. But I just want to start off with this Magcargo deck. This Magcargo deck actually is very bad. There's a few reasons. There's a few reasons why this deck is pretty bad, but I just want to make a deck profile first of this Magcargo deck. And yeah, let's just get into it. So basically what Magcargo does, I'm not going to read every single effect and card and attack, but Ground Burn here, discard the top card of each player's deck. The damage does 140 more damage. It does 140 more damage for each energy card discarded in this way. So base damage, 3 energy, stage 1, it does 140, which isn't impressive. But if you hit an energy on top of your deck, it does 280. And if you hit an energy on top of your deck and an energy on top of your opponent's deck, it does 420. And that's a lot of damage that this card can do. It can do 420, which essentially knocks out everything. Unless there's like a Hero's Cape on a high HP Pokemon. But for the most part, if you hit 2 energies, it dies. But 280 is enough to knock out, you know, Regidraco, VMAX, and other stuff like that. And so it does a lot of damage. And so this deck kind of aims to get this out. And yeah, I played this deck a lot. I had a few iterations of it, and this deck like barely got any wins. Actually, this deck got 0 wins against real decks. You know, I do play against, sometimes you play and you do really badly, and then you end up facing against other people who do badly. And so I've played against people who, you know, like no deck, like random decks, and you know, I beat those people. But when it comes to real deck, this deck actually doesn't have a win. In like 10 matches, it doesn't really have a win against a real deck. So it kind of sucks. But what's my deck list here? So we run 4 Magcargo EXs. These are from Twilight Masquerade, and 4 Slugmas. Now these Slugmas are from, I don't even know, is that Ancient Origins? I don't know. This is the pack with the Giratina V in it, I think. I'll have the deck list on my description, by the way, if you want that full deck list. But I play 4 of these Slugmas. The reason why is this Slugma is important because it has 70 HP. The Slugmas from Twilight Masquerade, and I think there's another one. There's another Slugma from like Paldea Evolved or something. But this Slugma has 70 HP, which means that you can use Buddy-Buddy Poffin on it. So that's why this Slugma in particular is important. And that's why one of the reasons why I want to get this deck list out now is because this Slugma will get rotated out. And when this Slugma gets rotated out, this deck is going to be a lot more difficult to play. You might need to start running Artizones. You might need to start running more Nest Balls and stuff. Because this is the only Slugma that has 70 HP that you can Buddy-Buddy Poffin. So that's why I want to get this deck list out now, is because, 1, the Slugma gets rotated out, which is one of the biggest important cards of this deck. And 2, this deck sucks, so I want to take it apart and take back the sleeves. So that's another reason. Now, Morpeko here, I played 3 of them. I used to play 4, but now I'm playing 3. This card is important because of its ability. Again, this is another card from Twilight Masquerade. Its ability is you can look at the top card of your deck and discard that card. So what you can do with the Morpeko is check the top card of your deck and see if it's an energy. That's the most important thing. And if it's an energy, then you can leave it on top of your deck. And then when you attack with Magcargo, when you use Ground Burn, you're guaranteed to do 280 damage. And of course, you can discard the top card of your deck if it isn't something useful. If it's a fire energy, you might want to discard it anyways, just because you have some place with fire energies in your discard pile. It's 70 HP, so you can also use Buddy-Buddy Poffin on it. I play one Rotom V. This is just for you to, just so it can, like, you know, your starting play, you can use it, and then you can instant charge to get more energies, because you're not going to be attacking turn 1 if you go first or you go second. You're not going to be attacking. Also, it enables Forest Steelstone, so you can search for any card by using a VMAX. So that's why Rotom's here. I'm also playing Reshiram V. I'm going to talk about changes I'll make to this deck later. But this card is a card I would change. Again, this card is mainly for another V target. But it also has Sparkling Wing, which you can search your deck for 2 basic energy and attach it to one of your Pokemon. Just a way you can energy ramp your Magcargos and Slugmas. And then the last card plays a Moltres from Brilliant Stars or something. This Moltres is basically only here to against control decks. So if your Magcargo can't get past for example, it can't get past a Mimikyu or stuff like that. Sure, your Slugmas can do 50 damage, but at the end of the day, your Moltres here is a way that it's just against the control matchups. For the most part, it's not very good. And for the supporters or trainer cards, I play 4 Professor's Research. Again, this deck doesn't have a lot. You want to get out your cards. You want to get your Magcargo set up. You want to get your Morpeko set up as fast as possible. So I play 4 Professor's Research. I play 3 Arvens because it's very important to search for your item cards. You know, I play a lot of item cards. Like, you'll see in a little bit. I play a lot of item cards. So being able to search for your item cards and searching for a tool is also very important. The most important tools is Forest Steelstone, which you can search for. Like, Arven can search for Nest Ball and can search for Steelstone, in which you can get your Rotom out, and you can search for any card, and then you can Rotom instant charge, right? So that's super important to have that. And also your main, one of your main tools for energy ramping is Sparkling Crystals. So this was a card that came out after Magcargo came out, and it just makes this deck a little bit stronger when it comes to energy ramping. So your Arven searches for that, okay? I'll get to those cards later, but Arven, I played 3 of it. I play 1 Boss's Orders. This is a mistake. I should play more. But Boss's Orders is always a good card to have in your deck. Just to tutor out your opponent's card. And then I play 1 Drayton. Drayton is also a mistake. I think Drayton's good, but I think in this deck you kind of want something that can search. Or it has a stronger ability. So Drayton is honestly not the greatest here. Basically what it does is it allows you to get a Pokemon's and a trainer card from the top 7 card of your deck. But you'd rather want something more specific. So it's kind of like an RNG card. I play 4 Trekking Shoes. The reason why I play 4 Trekking Shoes is that this kind of combos very well with Morpeko. So what Morpeko does is you look at the top card of your deck. Let's say you look at the top card of your deck and it's something important that you need. You can go ahead and use Trekking Shoes to draw that card. Or, you know what I'm saying? So, like, you Morpeko, and then you see, like, oh, I need a Magcargo, and you Morpeko into Magcargo. You keep the Magcargo on top of your deck, and then you Trekking Shoes it. And obviously, if you need place, then Trekking Shoes, you can use that. Basically, Trekking Shoes makes your deck into a 56 card deck. So I just think it's a really powerful card. There's another card that gets rotated out next year, because it's F. And so this card is another important card that gets rotated out. Again, it just combos with Morpeko. It makes it so that you have more chances of getting your fire energies to the top of your deck. 30 Buddy-Buddy Poffins. Again, these can get the Morpeko and Slugmas out. You definitely want to prioritize getting your Slugmas out, because if you don't have Slugmas, you lose. So make sure you get your Slugmas out and Morpeko as well, so that you can start using the ability to look at the top card of your deck. I played 3 Switch. This might be a little bit too much switches, but I played 3 Switch because your Magcargos have a 30 retreat cost. Technically, you can retreat your Magcargo because its attack costs 3 energies, and so a lot of times you will have 3 energies, and you can retreat them. But I played 3 switches, so honestly that might be overkill. I played 2 energy retrievals just in case, for example, you snack seek into an energy. You can decide to discard that energy and get it back with energy retrieval. You also played a 4 Professor Research, in which you can also get back your energies if you discard them. And Magcargo's attack discards discard cards from the top of your deck, and so you might hit some energies, and so you can get them back with the energy retrieval. I played 2 Nest Balls mainly for Rotom. Just want something to, like, if I Arven into Nest Ball, I can get Rotom. But the Nest Balls can also be used for your Slugmas, your Morpekus. And then I played 2 Tera Orbs. Again, this was another card that was printed after Magcargo was released. Tera Orb basically searches for Magcargo. You don't need to use Ultra Ball in this deck. You notice that I don't use any Ultra Balls. I just use Nest Balls, Tera Orbs, Buddy-Buddy Poffins. And these are enough to get every Pokemon I need. So yeah, the Tera Orb only searches for Magcargo, but again, it's another Arven target. Another Forest Sealstone target. I played Super Rod so you can get back your Slugmas, your Magcargos, your Morpekus, whatever you need, your energies. The Forest Sealstone, again, this is an important card so that you can, Arven your Rotom, Arven this card, and then attach it to your Rotom and search for any card you need. The Sparkling Crystal, again, this is for energy ramp. So turn 1, you play Slugma, and then you attach a fire energy. And then turn 2, you can evolve it into a Magcargo. You can attach another fire energy for turn, and then you can use your Sparkling Crystal. And now you can use Ground Burn as soon as you evolve your Magcargo. And then you have 3 switches, so like you can set up a bench Pokemon and switch it up and stuff like that. So that's just one way of energy ramping your Magcargo so that it can attack turn 2. I'll say this now, and I'm going to say it again a lot in the future, but we are currently in an energy ramp meta. That's what I'm calling it. I'm calling it energy ramp meta. A lot of the best decks and a lot of the best Pokemons, their attack are very powerful for 1 energy. For example, Goldango. And then there's a lot of Pokemon, or a lot of decks this meta, where like it's good to ramp energies. So you're seeing a lot of energy switches. You're seeing a lot of Sparkling Crystals. You're seeing a lot of ways to energy ramp. And so that's why I say that this is an energy ramp meta. You play 2 Academy at Night. Now this card is fun because once play turn, that player may put a card from the top of their deck or from their hand to the top of their deck. And so this directly benefits Magcargo because what you can do is you can put a fire energy at the top of your deck and then Ground Bird, discard your fire energy, and then you do extra damage, right? So this is directly for Magcargo to get extra damage. I don't really know other use cases. I mean, there technically is other use cases for this card, and I'll explain it later. And then there's Magma Basin. Again, this is another way you can energy ramp. Keep in mind that this card is a little bit tricky because you need to attach to a bench Pokemon. You need a fire energy in your graveyard, which isn't the hardest to achieve because, again, you have the Morpekus that can get fire energies to the graveyard. And it does 20 damage on your Pokemon. Magcargo doesn't really have that much HP, and so if you do chip damage on it, it becomes a lot weaker. And so having the full HP, the full 270 makes it really strong. So yeah. And then I play 14 fire energies. I play a lot of fire energies because you really want them in your graveyard, you really want them in your, or you want them in your discard pile, you want them in your hand, and you want them on your Pokemon. And so there's many places you want these fire, you want them in your deck, you want them in your hand, you want them in your discard pile, and you want them on your Pokemon. So there's a lot of places you want your fire energies in, so that's why I play so many. So that's kind of the combo with this deck. Again, it's just trying to get your Slugmas out as soon as you can. You play a bunch of the Buddy-Buddy Poffin so that you can get your Slugmas, your Morpekus out. And then turn 2, you try to get your Magcargos out and you try to energy ramp with your Magma Basin, with your Sparkling Crystals. You have the Forest Sealstone and the Rotom for more consistency. You play bunch of Professor's Research for more consistency to get stuff in your discard pile. You play the 3 Arvens so that you can try to get your item cards, your Nest Ball so you can search for your Rotoms, your Tera Orb so you can search for your Slugmas or your Magcargos. It can also search for, the Arvens are very important to search for your energy ramp, 1 energy ramp Sparkling Crystal. And And yeah, that kind of about covers it, okay? So that's a lot of stuff in this deck. And, you know, my deck list isn't perfect. Again, I'm going to give out some recommendations right now. And kind of stuff that I talked about. So, again, I've been playing this deck for a while, and there's a lot of things that, like, I considered in this deck. And let's go to some Theorycraft stuff now. Before Sparkling Crystal was a thing, I tried to use Hyper Aroma. Hyper Aroma allows you to search for 3 Stage 1 Pokemon. So again, before Tera Orb, before Sparkling Crystals, Hyper Aroma was a good way of getting your Magcargos. I also played a card called Malamar. So Malamar is a Stage 1, so again, it has synergy with the Hyper Aroma. And the Inkay is also 60 HP. So you can Buddy-Buddy Poffin the Inkay. You can search the Malamar with the Hyper Aroma. And what Malamar does is you can look at the top card of your opponent deck and look at the top card of your deck. So this is a very strong card because, again, if you discard energy from the top of your opponent deck, that could be very strong too. You get extra damage, and then you can also look at the top of your deck. The problem with Malamar is that it doesn't discard that card. It doesn't discard your opponent card, doesn't discard your card. And so it's not that good. I never ended up using this kind of package, the Inkay Malamar Hyper Aroma package. But it's something to consider. I feel like the Malamar could be very strong to look at. Again, more ways of looking at the top card of your deck and also looking at your opponent's deck. And the Hyper Aroma, again, the thing about the Sparkling Crystal is while the Sparkling Crystal's energy ramp, it only energy ramps once. And so once your Magcargo dies, the next Magcargo takes a while to ramp up. And so I can see the argument that you try to play slower, but you have another A-Spec that has a strong effect. Like your counter catchers, your unfair stamps, you know, your Hyper Aromas, whatever that might be. Gutsy Pickaxe was also another card that I played in my deck. Again, this card, I think this card is a super strong card because if you play both Gutsy Pickaxe and Trekking Shoes, your deck is basically 52 cards because Gutsy Pickaxe, essentially what it does is draw 1 card. So that could be very strong. It makes your deck a lot thinner than it might be. But the reason why Gutsy Pickaxe was once played was because if you Morpeku'd something that was important, you can draw it with Gutsy Pickaxe, similar to Trekking Shoes. But if you look, Gutsy Pickaxe also has the secondary effect, which is technically usable in this deck. If you reveal the top card of your deck and it's a ground energy attached to one of your bench Pokemon. So this was another way you can energy ramp with this deck. Alright, you can Knight at the Academy, a ground energy, and then Gutsy Pickaxe and put that ground energy on one of your bench Pokemon. So it was another way of energy ramping. Yes, you need both. You need Knight Academy, you need Gutsy Pickaxe, and you need 1 fighting energy to ramp 1 energy. But it's a possible combo that you could have done. I used to actually play 4 Gutsy Pickaxe, and I used to play some ground energies in this deck to get that combo off. But I realized that it's a weird combo, and again, that's just something to consider. Gutsy Pickaxe is another card that's something to consider. Another thing to consider is Team Star Grunt. Now, Team Star Grunt is a supporter card, and what it does is you put an energy card from your opponent's active Pokemon to the top of their deck. So this is very strong because, yes, this is one of the ways you can consistently get 420 damage. If you Team Star Grunt their active Pokemon's energy, you put it at the top of their deck, you're guaranteed 280 damage at that point. And if you hit an energy on top of your deck, you know, with Academy at Night, with Morpeko, you can hit big damage. Unfortunately, I cut Team Star Grunt because my deck wasn't very consistent, and this card ended up being a brick a lot of the times. But this is another card to consider. This is a card that you can consistently get extra damage. It's just a supporter card. So that's something to consider. And the last card to consider is obviously just Ultra Balls. Yeah, my deck doesn't run any Ultra Balls, and so again, maybe running Ultra Ball would be good for this deck too. But anyways, yeah, that's kind of the deck list. The deck list is kind of bad. Things that I would change immediately. By the way, I play 4 stadiums. I still think 4 stadiums is good. You kind of just play these cards like supporters. Like you play Magma Basin just to ramp up 1 energy. You play Not at the Academy just to use its effects once. And so you kind of want to use these liberally. I honestly would change a few things. I think I would remove like a switch. I would remove Drayton for sure. I honestly would remove the Reshiram, and I'll remove 1 Magcargo. I think running 4 Magcargos is kind of overkill. A lot of the times I end up with a lot of Magcargos in my hand. So some recommendations, I would probably replace the Drayton with another boss's order. A lot of the times, funny enough, your boss's order gets ground burned. Like I would end up discarding my boss's orders. Like what would happen was I would Morpeko, see that the top card is boss's orders, and I'm like, okay, at that point I should just discard it. Because like Magcargo is just gonna discard it, so I might as well discard this so that hopefully the next card's an energy so I can get more damage. And so a lot of times the boss's order gets discarded, so I'll run 2 boss's orders instead of the Drayton. Instead of the Reshiram V, I would play Lumineon. That way, because honestly, when I first started playing this deck, I had 2 of Reshiram Vs, and I would use them quite often, but they're just kind of bad, and so I would have a Lumineon V. That way you can get to your supporters. For example, your Team Star Grunts, your boss's orders, your Arvens, which are very important. And that's why I would run Ultra Balls, because if you play these cards, this card doesn't search for Lumineon. This card does get Lumineon out, but you can't use its ability because you have to play from your hand. And Buddy-Buddy Poffin obviously doesn't get Lumineon. And so that's why I don't play Lumineon, is because I would need Ultra Balls. But one thing I would consider is replacing some of the Tera Orbs with Ultra Balls. And so you can replace the 2 Tera Orbs with perhaps, or like maybe 1 Tera Orb, 1 Nest Ball. You would replace 2 of these with some Ultra Balls. And then perhaps you would play Ultra Ball instead of a Magcargo. And then, in my opinion, I like the idea of having a Team Star Grunt. And so I would replace a Switch with a Team Star Grunt. And then 2 of these would be 2 more Ultra Balls. So that's kind of what I would do. Just 1 Nest Ball and 1 Tera Orb so that you can at least search for it with an Arven. Or for a Steel Stone. So that you can get your guaranteed Magcargo. You can get your guaranteed Rotom or Lumineon with the Nest Ball. But those would be the changes I make. But yeah, again, this deck is kind of bad. Mainly, I just wanted to make this video just to give you guys the idea of the Magcargo deck. Because I think the Magcargo deck is a very fun deck. It's not very good, but it's a very fun deck. And I think that I'll be sad when the 70 HP Slugma gets rotated out. But anyways, that's kind of the end of this video. Again, Magcargo, try it out. People are rumoring that F cards are going to get rotated, and that's not an F card. People are rumoring that F cards are going to get rotated out next year, at the beginning of next year, around spring. And so, I don't have much time with this deck, but honestly, I'm so done with this deck. I've just lost so much with this deck, and so I just don't want to play it anymore. Thank you for watching, you beautiful the way you are, and I'll catch you in the next Trainer Clizzard video, where maybe we'll make another Pokemon deck profile. I have a bunch of decks, alright? Get ready, I have a bunch of decks, and they all have stuff in common, right? So see you guys then.